All right, it is time to exchange some fighting words with DraftKings contributor Tim Finnegan. Chasing or fading the following odds on the DK Sportsbook ahead of Saturday's stacked UFC 262 event. We're turning to pay-per-view here, Timmy, and headlined by a pair of lightweight bouts. Before we dive into those, this event will actually take place in front of a sold-out crowd, 17,000 in Houston. So much different than these bouts we've seen at either the UFC Training Center or on Fight Island or, really in Jacksonville with no fans. How much will a huge crowd impact these throwdowns, do you think?
So I think the crowd is probably going to impact Bruce Buffer more than anything. Like, there's actually a funny meme online of Bruce Buffer with a crowd and without a crowd. And with the crowd, he has like the red eyes, like, that meme. Like, so I think the fans being in the stands is not going to have a huge impact on the fights. Like the one main difference is that in the Apex, when it was quiet, you could hear the corners, you could hear the commentators. Now the fighters aren't really going to be able to hear that as well. So that could be a difference, but there's definitely going to be more energy. The fighters will have more energy. Just the whole atmosphere is going to be more energetic. So I think that would be the biggest change.
Okay, well, looking at the main card here, let's start with a featherweight bout between Shane Burgos and Edson Barboza. Burgos is a -141 favorite here, -141. Are you chasing or fading that he comes out on top?
So this fight, I think, is pretty close. Like, Burgos is a really high volume striker. Like, he lands about seven significant strikes per minute. That's really high. But because he's so active, he also absorbs a lot of strikes. He's taking about 6 significant strikes per minute. So, and if you look at his stats, he doesn't really attempt a lot of takedowns. So this looks like it could be primarily a striking match. And if it's a striking match, like, Edson Barboza is a great striker. He's a great technical striker. He's got really powerful kicks. So Barboza is going to be a live underdog if this fight takes place on the feet. The one thing I will mention is that because Burgos, he does have such high volume, like, he is appealing in DraftKings DFS contests. He's 8,400. So I would look at him if you're going to look for a DFS play on DraftKings this week.
All right, well, moving on, let's check out the women's flyweight division here as Katlyn Chookagian takes on Viviana Araujo. So Chookagian's, she's the favorite here, -139. But chaser fade that Araujo has a shot to pull off this upset.
I do think she has a chance. If you look at Chookagian's takedown defense, it's not great. She only stops about 50% of her opponent takedown attempts. So, and Araujo is able to finish takedowns. Like, she finished 4 in her most recent fight. So that could be the path for victory for her is through takedowns.
Up next, men's bantamweight contest between Matt Schnell and Rogerio Bontorin. So Schnell comes in as a -159 favorite here. Looking at the fight props, though, odds favor Schnell to win by a decision at +150. Chaser fade that a decision is the most likely outcome for him.
So looking at DraftKings Sportsbook on the prop bets, there's a prop bet that jumps out at me in this fight. Like, Schnell has a suspect chin. He's been finished 3 times by strikes in the UFC. And on DraftKings Sportsbook, Rogerio by KO or TKO is +450. Like, that's pretty good odds for a guy with a suspect chin. So I think if you're going to make a bet on this fight, I would look at that.
Now we have the co-main event as we hit the men's lightweight division with Tony Ferguson battling Beneil Dariush. Ferguson has been a top fighter in this weight class for a long, long time, but comes into this bout as a -165 underdog. So chaser fade that Ferguson can prove he's still one of the top lightweights and take out Dariush.
So Ferguson, it seems like he aged overnight. Like, he got dominated by Charles Oliveira in his last fight. He just got thoroughly destroyed. But he has fought really tough competition. Like, his last 2 losses are to Oliveira and Justin Gaethje. So those are 2 top fighters in his weight class. So this is definitely a step down in the competition for him. And Ferguson was on such a great run. He won 12 straight fights. He's ridiculously tough. Like, Oliveira had him in a fully extended armbar in his last fight. It looked like his elbow was going to pop. He didn't tap. And then eventually the round ended, so he wasn't submitted. And if you look at Ferguson's striking metrics, he lands more strikes than average on a rate basis. So, and he's only 7,600 on DraftKings this week. So I think he's a pretty good value with a step down in competition.
How about the main event here, dude? The vacant lightweight title is on the line. You got Michael Chandler fighting Charles Oliveira. He has won 8 straight, Oliveira, 8 straight fights, and is the favorite here at minus 134. I want you to chase or fade that he makes it 9 in a row and takes home the title.
So I'm going to fade Oliveira here. Like, I actually really like Michael Chandler a lot in this fight. Like, Chandler is a great wrestler, so he can dictate where this fight goes. Like, if he wants to keep the fight standing, I don't think Oliveira is going to be able to take him down. So, and if Chandler keeps the fight standing and turns it into a striking match, I think he has the advantage there. Like, and if you look at Oliveira's striking style, he stands straight up and he comes forward. Like, he really pressures forward, and that could play right into Chandler's power hands. Like, Chandler has said he's going to, like, hunt like a knockout in the first round. And if Oliveira is going to stand straight up and come forward like that, that plays right into Chandler's strategy. So I would look at Chandler in this fight if you're going to make a bet on DraftKings Sportsbook. I think he was plus 110. I don't know if that's changed much in the last day, but he's definitely a live underdog here.
All right, I know you've mentioned a few DFS news, notes, and recommendations throughout this segment, but let's get your best DFS play of the night for UFC 262 this weekend.
So Michael Chandler, he's only 7,500. He's one of the cheapest fighters on the entire slate. I want to say he's like the 5th cheapest. And for all the reasons we just talked about, like, Chandler's a great wrestler, so he can dictate where this fight goes. And if he keeps the fight standing, I think he has the advantage on the feet. And in his last fight against Dan Hooker, he won by a knockout in the first round. He scored 107 DraftKings fantasy points. I could see that happening again against Oliveira. I could see a first-round knockout in this fight. I could see 100 DraftKings fantasy points. And if you can get that type of fantasy scoring for somebody who's only 7,500, that's like a great play. So I would look at Michael Chandler.